Ladies and gentlemen, in this Red Gaming Tech.com video, I'm going to be taking a look at the Steam and other website deals on the 31st of December. First up is Steam, and after yesterday's awesomeness of Far Cry along with others, today's are somewhat lackluster, and we're down to those franchises that always seem to be on sale. I'm going to go from the beginning, and I'm going to start with Binding of Isaac. I've actually recently done a video on this, actually. The Binding of Isaac is a pretty awesome game. It tells basically the story, from what I understand, of a little kid who has been abused and he's locked in a basement. I'm not quite sure, because I haven't really played it that much, whether what he's actually seeing is real or not, but regardless of the fact, it's a pretty screwed up game. I would recommend you check out my video if you want more information. However, before you rush out and buy this, bear in mind it is available on the Humble Bundle. Now, you would technically get this if you even just paid $1. You'd get the Binding of Isaac plus Wrath of Lamb plus Closure plus Snapshot plus Shank 2 plus EFF. If you beat the average, which is $6.63, that's dollars, you get Dungeon Defenders plus DLC, Legend of Grimrock, the Basement Collection, Offspring Fling, and also Cave Story Plus. So I'd actually recommend you don't get Binding of Isaac, although it is a very good game. I would recommend you don't get it from Steam. Do check out my video, however, on this very channel. Next one is Terraria. I've been through this one before, but I'll go through it again quickly. Terraria is almost like, could be summarized as a 2D Minecraft, but to put it as 2D Minecraft would be to doing it a vast injustice. It's not a Minecraft clone. It actually focuses a lot less on building in many ways, and focuses more on action RPG elements. You're going to basically be able to go all the way up to Sky Islands, to exploring the depth of hell, to be able to summon demons. In my personal opinion, this game really comes onto its own with the kind of addition of a friend. It is worth noting, however, with Terraria, that although your character technically doesn't level so much, it levels more from items you find. So, for example, more health can be, gotten by various hearts. You can craft better armor, that type of thing. So it is pretty cool and character-centric, but it does mean, of course, that you can't just say, hey, I'm going to dig into hell and fight the things that you'll get A, owned, and B, you probably, you don't have the equipment to do such things. So, yeah. Next franchise, Deus Ex Human Revolution. I've been through this one before, but I'll go through it again just real quick. You can either pick up the regular Human Revolution, which is $3.74. You can get the Augmented Edition, which includes a few other bits and bobs, including motion comic soundtrack, blah blah blah. That's $5.74. To be honest with you, you might just want to cough up for the basic version. However, there is also DLC for this game, and I'd recommend you pick up the Missing Link if you're going to pick up any DLC. 75% off, and actually expands quite a bit on the original game. That makes it £2.24. Anyway, Deus Ex is basically obviously a sequel to previous Deus Ex titles. Original Deus Ex was incredibly well received. The second one, basically people thought it was a bit ill with consolitis. Obviously it was released on the original Xbox. In my opinion, Deus Ex is an incredibly good-looking game. It's actually fairly weird in the visual sense, because it has kind of an orange filter that's applied over everything. It's kind of weird, but it gives you kind of like a futuristic orangey glow look, if you will. There's only one problem I personally have. Well, there's two problems I personally have with Deus Ex. One involves the way that you are rewarded experience. Supposedly, the game allows you to play either more assassin-based, or stealth-based, or more killy-based. Now, the problem with this approach is, while it's great in theory, the game rewards you a lot better by being more stealth and non-kill based. In other words, if you're stealthy, you don't really get caught much, and in addition to all of this, you don't murder people. In other words, you use stuns or say stun weapons or stun melee attack. Then you're going to get your levels up a lot faster. I have an issue with this because, first of all, some of the cool stuff is actually where you can kill people. And secondly, it also puts a limit on how I want to play the game. I don't like that. If you're going to have a moral choice system, make it even. I understand that some games do moral choice systems in a very arbitrary and crappy way, and I'm totally, against that. However, I also don't like it where it says you can play either way, but then one way actually levels you up quicker and gets you more goodies. So, yeah, there's that. And also I came across a couple of bugs, mostly to do with the way the police station area, to do with the security cameras more than anything. I don't really know what the hell that was about. I basically broke into the police station, left, and then I came back into the police station a little bit later on, and then the security camera actually tagged me, even though I was in the lobby. So I'd actually gotten away scot-free from the initial, breaking and entry. Then I came back, and then the security cameras tagged me, even though I was just being a law-abiding citizen. So I don't know what the hell that was about. I don't know if that bug was fixed. Regardless, despite my bitching for the last couple of minutes, it is a very good game, and I'd actually recommend you check this one out. It's very fun. It looks good. It plays well. The PC version, for the most part, I've got to say, runs pretty flawlessly, and the conversation and everything else is very smartly written. I do recommend this game. Next one is, in my opinion, a very good horror title, and that's Alan Wake. There's two of these suckers. There's the original Alan Wake, which is $5.74, and there's American Nightmare. And if you buy the bundle of this, you also can get the collector's edition extras, which comes with a bunch of crap I'm not particularly sure if anyone cares about. Regardless, the original Alan Wake, and I was just Alan Wake, is set before American Nightmare, and I'd recommend, if you've not played the original Alan Wake, don't play American Nightmare first, even though it's a cheaper game. It can be tempting. Now, I know what you're going to say. Why is the later of the two cheaper? Is it because it sucks? Is it because, why? So, there's actually a really logical reason for this. Basically, American Nightmare was released on the Xbox 360 on their marketplace, and it's not a full price release. And this could be found particularly in the writing and the setting of the game. You'll notice that American Nightmares, I'm not actually doing a Let's Play of that, I'll have to complete it at some point, but basically the areas are constantly recycled. There's about 3 to 4 big areas, and I'm not saying they're short to play, but you go back through them a few times. The cynic and probably the truthful reason for this is simply because of budget. In other words, it makes them cheaper to produce. Ugh, cold coffee. Anyway, it is, however, a very good game. Sorry about the dinging. The phone just went off. I'll just ignore that. So anyway, the original Alan Wake, however, is, in my opinion, the slightly better game. They both have very good visuals and are pretty great PC versions. It's actually a little bit of trivia. Intel originally used Alan Wake to show off the quad cores back in the Core 2 Duos and the Core 2 Quads back in, I believe, 2007. And then, of course, Microsoft pulled the, you're not having that, we want that for our consoles. And then we had to wait for a while. Anyway, it was eventually, should I say, released for PC. And I have to say, it works quite well. There isn't really anything particularly wrong with Alan Wake, actually. I really like the game, and I would recommend you play it. It can seem a little bit cheesy, almost like it's from the Twilight Zone occasionally, but you know what, it's not to the game's detriment, in honesty. I'd recommend you check out both the video of this and American Nightmare. I have both. The Alan Wake is just of a first impressions review, but American Nightmare actually has some Let's Play footage in there. So if you wanted to see various aspects of the game, you can check those out. As I said, for the most part, it runs really well. Next one, F1. I did try this out briefly on the channel, so I'd recommend you check it. I found it a good game, honestly, but I'm not the greatest racing game player in the world. In fact, I'll be honest, if the car goes around the corner well, even a slow speed, I feel like I've done well. I used to be good at Gran Turismo and stuff, but I haven't played racing games in a long ass time. Nevertheless, this does give you a ridiculous amount of options, and for the most part, allows you to, well, turn the game to a more arcadey experience, or turn off a lot of the "we're going to hold your hand, so don't you worry" features, and it allows you to basically go on full, pretty much, realism mode. The game would probably be better with steering wheel. I was using an Xbox 360 pad, and while it wasn't bad per se, I got the feeling that I wasn't getting the most out of the experience. Once again, if you're not particularly good with driving games, you'll still get a reasonable kick out of this because you can turn on the pram wheels, and they will help you, the stabilizing wheels, if you will. And it does run quite well. The PC version does look reasonable, especially with the dust and debris, particularly when you're in the middle of a pack. In my opinion, it's not a standout game, and there is a demo available for this, by the way, so you should check that out to make sure you like it. As I said, it's not a standout game for me because I'm not particularly massive racing game fan, but for those of you who are, I think you could do a lot worse than checking this one out. Finally, in today's deal section, we have Fable, the set. Now, Fable: The Lost Chapters is basically a pretty awesome game. It's the original Fable, and for the most part, it runs pretty nicely, and it's a pretty good game. It's not maybe as good as what it was originally intended to be. They certainly didn't quite accomplish everything. It once again has a moral choice system, but this one's actually kind of cool, as it doesn't take itself super seriously. It does do it fairly well, and honestly, I completed the whole Fable, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't actually stop playing it. I really liked the game. I smashed it over a couple of days. Fable 3 I got bored with real quick. Now, I know what you're going to say, but dude, where the hell is Fable 2? Fable 2 wasn't released on the PC as far as I'm aware. So yeah, Fable 3, I'm sorry, on the other hand, I really couldn't get into. I tried, honestly, for a couple of times, and although I know the game does look a lot better aesthetically, and they did add a few other features, in my opinion, I still wasn't massively into it. I just couldn't bring myself to like it as much. As far as I can tell, Metacritic-wise and other reviewers, they've kind of felt the same. Most people thought it's a reasonably good game, but it seems to be kind of like Marmite. So some people are going to love it, some people not so much. Anyway, there's the community choice currently of Dota 2, which basically gives you early access to the game. It's a fairly cheap price. I can't really recommend whether you want this or not. I guess it depends on if you want early access to it with some other goodies. I'm not going to go into it too much. I think most people know it by now. I didn't even realise, actually, I actually own Dota. Huh. Didn't actually realise that. That sucks. Next one is, well, I'm not going to bother to go into the ones with only a few hours remaining, but I will talk about Train Simulator. I have no idea about it, honestly. I have absolutely no interest in trains, other than the fact that mostly British Rail seem to be predominantly late. So I have an interest in trains then. Castle Crashers, I haven't played it personally, but I have heard it's a pretty awesome game. There is a demo of this one. It's £3.39. Get it if you want. As I said, there's a demo of it, so I think you should just check it out yourselves. And finally, Chivalry. I've mentioned before that this game is either a love it or hate it type of title. And aesthetically, it doesn't look too bad. It definitely isn't a Skyrim. It's basically more of a multiplayer online focus. Whether you want to play this one, I'll leave it up to you. Personally, it just didn't even slightly interest me, so I can't really say much more than it scores reasonably. But whether that's enough to sway you one way or the other, who the hell knows? As I've said before, there are really good deals currently, so you might not want to risk your money, should we say, on a game that you're not too certain about. As I was saying, there are other companies, however, which are doing some reasonably good deals at the moment. Legend of Grimrock is available for $2.99 on Gamersgate. To be honest, I think you'd be a fool to purchase this. Despite the fact it's a good game, I'd recommend you just cough up the extra few bucks, and I'd recommend you get this as part of the Humble Bundle. It's $2.99, as I said on here, and I'm not quite sure what $6 something would be. I think it'd be about £5 roughly. So I'd probably just cough up the extra $2 because at the very least you're going to get Shank 2 or something else that you might want. And yeah, so I'd do that. I've heard Last Remnant is pretty good. Some people absolutely love the game. Some people have said it's not that great. I'd recommend checking out maybe some reviews. It's not a bad game or anything like that. It's a Japanese RPG affair. And honestly, it's not like we've got absolutely tons of those. Now, before I forget, Green Man Gaming are doing a pretty splendiferous, that's right, splendiferous deal right now. If the darn site loads for me, there we go. I just had to coax it a little bit, you understand. They've actually got Sonic Generations, which in my opinion is one of the few good Sonic games of recent memories, available for £4.99. But, as the infomercials will tell you, that's not all. They've got a code on their website which gives you 30% off of digital games. You can use this code to bring Sonic Generations down to a rather staggering £3.50. That's right, $3.50. I'm not sure I don't know what that would be in dollars, but either way, it's a pretty darn good price. They've still got DMC there, where you can actually pick up ridiculously cheap as well. So yeah, I'd probably recommend you actually got that. Oh, by the way, currently Awesome Noughts is available on the flash sales of Steam, but it's going to be done in a couple of hours. So yeah. Anyway, you've also got a good copy of Doom 3 BFG edition as well. That's pretty cheap as well. So I'm just having a look to see if there's anything else that's good and cool and awesome and shiny. As far as I can see, nope. Finally, Amazon are doing a few good deals right now. On Skyrim, it's £16, for example. And you've got Borderlands for the 15 mark. So yeah, not too bad. And I've also got some good prices on World of Warcraft, if that's your bag as well. Anyway, I think that's just about everything for this video. It's not been a terrible day, at all. I have seen better deals, in honesty. I think we're kind of getting out of the awesomeness. I assume as well most people, they figure it out today, so they just throw up a bunch of random crap and hope for the best. It's not bad or anything, as I said. They're reasonable games in their own right. They're just ones that's been here at least 2 or 3 times during this sale, or ones that have regularly been on sale, such as Binding of Isaac. I don't even know how many times that and Terraria have been on. I think they're trying to go for the world record or something. Anyway, regardless, been a bit of a quick video compared to yesterday's, but nevertheless, hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and bye for now.